Okay, how's it going, guys? So with me today is the 4 new atomizers that I said that we were going to talk about from YouDe Technology, and I needed a little bit of time to play with them so that, not only do I know what I'm talking about, I could also show you different ways of how I would have built them later on in the video. So this video is going to be a 5-part series, okay? First, we're going to go through a tour and a brief summary of each and every one of these atomizers, and we're going to talk about, my basic opinions of what they are and, how they perform and what their functions, and little things here and there, all the details that I feel is worth mentioning. Afterwards, at the end of this video, you will be able to click on each atomizer individually, and then it'll take you to another video where I'm going to show you how the original manufacturer intended the atomizer to be built, and then how I would have built the atomizer. Okay, so without further ado, let's duck down and then take a look at each one individually. Okay, so here are the 4 atomizers, 2 new additions to the Aga series and 2 new additions to the Aga series. So we have the Aga T6, the Aga T7, the IGO W6, and the IGO W7. Okay, the top 2 are tank systems, and the lower 2 are the drippers. Right. So let's start off with the drippers first. IGO W6. Okay, let's bring this out of the box and so we can have a better look at it. The IGO W6 over here is a native quad coil. Let me put this on top of the mech mod so I can remove the top cap for you guys. Okay, now it is a native quad coil device. Right now I have the coils and the wicks built inside over here already. Okay, and now different devices come in native single coil, dual coil, quad coil. What it means is that whatever it is, built as native, it is what the recommended amount of coils that should be in here. For instance, there's going to be 5 posts, so therefore it's a native quad coil device. Plus it has 4 independent air holes for each coil. Now, I believe that this atomizer is going to be the new standard for quad coil devices because of its ease to build on, okay, as opposed to older atomizers like either IGO W4s or like the Patriot and things like that, where you could build a quad coil on it, but it's more difficult to do so. Now, atomizers like the Helios is also very easy to build quad coil on. However, on the Helios, there's only 2 air holes on it. So what happens is that the 2 coils that you build on both sides to make quad coils, the 2 coils each would have to share an air hole, as opposed to this one where you would build a specific coil on each 4 corner, and each 4 corner would have its own independent air hole. So functionality wise and just the atomizer making a lot more sense, this one is definitely, I believe, is going to be the industry standard. Okay, so moving on, right? The IGO W7. Okay, the IGO W7 is a dual coil dripper. Right. If you're a big fan of the Origin dripper by Norbert, the Hungarian dripper, then if we take a look underneath the hood over here, then we can see right away it's going to be basically kind of like a 3-prong atomizer. However, it's lower on the body, and then there's 2 juice wells inside. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to build this one later on in a much more different way than your typical Norbert Origin drippers and the way that you've seen originally. I'll show you different photos of the Origin mod being built, and then we'll go through a step-by-step of how to build this one. Okay, basically, I think that the time of the 3-prong dripper is going to be dead, and this is the new way to go. Why? Because it has the deep juice wells inside, and the deep juice wells is going to allow you to basically still have the same function as a dripper, but you would be able to take a lot more hits between dripping, as opposed to normally you would drip probably every like 3 to 4, 5 or 6 hits at most. With the juice well over here, it's possible to go up to about 10 to 12 hits before having to drip again, depending on how hot you build the item. Okay, so let's move on from here. All right. The Aga T6. Okay, the Aga T6 is a very big tank. as opposed to all of the other atomizers over here. Okay, the Aga T6 is the only atomizer that is not 22 millimeters. Okay, pardon me, I actually put this one in wrong, so I'm going to need something to help me remove this. Okay, there we go. All right, so what exactly is this thing? Well, it's an upside down Genesis. In order to best explain this thing, okay, we would actually have to go get another Genesis device. Like, for instance, I have over here with me a Genesis in my hand, okay. This one is the Pulse G. Okay, so what is this thing really? It's basically this upside down. Okay, but as you can see how the drip tip is over here and my drip tip is over here. What happens is that exactly like a Genesis, you would normally build your coils up here. So let me remove the top cap of the normal Genesis, and then you would see that, you know, we would build the coil and the wick and everything over here. Okay, so it is the exact same notion as this, except for all the coils and wicks over here. If you can see inside of this hole, okay, there is a coil built inside over here, and it's exactly like this, except we flip the whole thing upside down. That way, it's always on tilt. You see what I'm saying? Okay. No pun intended for you poker fans out there. Okay. Anyways, so it is always tilting, so that is always feeding itself. So if you build this thing right, then it's always on constant auto drip. So this is a true auto dripping device with a tank reservoir system in there. And as you can see, the air holes on this thing is huge. Okay, so it's going to be able to, you know, perform like a Genesis, but produce enormous clouds. However, what you have to do is that you have to be very, very good at building coils for this one, coils and wicking as well. Because what happens is that because this thing is constantly on tilt, if you don't build this thing properly, it's going to leak all the time. If you build it properly, then it's going to work like a dream. So this is going to require like a little bit, you know, higher level of tinkering. But if you are already on that level, then definitely recommend this device, because the performance that it could put out is definitely like a volcano in your hand. I personally put this one on my M16 because this was a 24 millimeter atomizer, and it just wouldn't look right on like a Nemesis or anything else like that that's normally 22 millimeters. Okay, so let's put this aside, and we'll get to a build video on that later on. All right, so last atomizer that we're going to talk about, okay, is the Aga T7. The Aga T7, like I said, is the reply to the K-Fun, right? So I just want to point this out to you guys, that other videos I've noticed that talking about the Aga T7 and talking about like how large this atomizer is, like saying like, wow, it's really, really big. Totally not true. Okay, if we had to compare this side by side with a 3.1 K-Fun, they are the exact same height. So what I'm saying is that like this size is nothing that you aren't already used to. Okay, so once you see it, like, don't be intimidated. It's just you know, a different shape, so it might seem a little bit larger, but actually it is the exact same height as a K-Fun. Okay, so this item, okay, what makes it so much better than a K-Fun? Well, basically you could build dual coils at the bottom, and it has dual airflow. So if I open this up for you real quick, okay, which is important to do so, because if you compare this atomizer to the other atomizers, okay, you will see that the chimney of this guy, let me put this on here so that you can see it better. The chimney for this guy is much larger than a K-Fun would be. And because of all this room and, you know, building your wicks and your coils inside, this thing is going to, you know, be able to produce a lot more heat, a lot more flavor, a lot more clouds. Right, exactly. So basically it's the K-Fun Yeah, it's like a bigger, meaner version of the K-fun, right? Okay, so let me go ahead and put this one away. And that is it with the 4 new atomizers. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, I decided to keep the video short and simple this time and not put you through any torturous unboxings or narrating the instruction manuals to you guys because let's face it, these 4 items aren't really for newbies anyways, and for those of you watching this video, you basically came here just to hear, like, you know, my professional opinion on it anyways. You know what I mean? We don't have to go into, like, you know, dissecting it and taking everything apart because you guys should already be at that level. All right, so from this point on, you could go ahead and click on one of the 4 atomizers, and then I will take you over to the build tutorial, where first I'll show you the way the manufacturer intended on how it should be built, and then I'll show you how I would have built the atomizer for its most optimal performance. Okay? Take care, guys. Okay, so which one interests you the most? Do you want to talk about the tank systems, or are you more into the drippers right now? Okay. As for the drippers, you know, you want to talk about the quad coil, so this is the Aga W6, or you want to talk about the dual coil, Aga W7. Okay, remember, you know, dual coil, quad coil, one is not better than the other. They perform differently. Okay, so then again, Aga T6, Aga T7. Okay, so which one should we talk about first? Okay, you know, most likely you'll probably end up clicking on all of them, but let's pick one for now so that we can move on. Okay, so go ahead and choose one. 6767. Let's go. Okay,